In this episode, Teddy's Talladegas. Hello everybody, it's LA Diecast. This time we're going to do something a little different. We'll take a look at one of the dioramas. I have promised that we would do this and talk a little bit more about how I made them. I've gotten quite a few requests from the dioramas. Ironically, they're the least watched videos I do, but they're the most asked for. So I don't know how that works on YouTube exactly, but I get about a third of the views on them, but I get most of the email on them. So I guess the diehards are really watching this. So a couple things first about this. First of all, this particular diorama was entered in the LA Hot Wheels Convention Custom Car Contest, and one of the categories they have is a diorama category. I entered it. First time I've entered, and I won the People's Choice Award. I'll get it in there. So this was, everybody that went to the show could vote on one custom in any category at the show, and my diorama won. I don't know if it's common for the dioramas to win, but it won. So very excited about that. I also won first place in a coloring contest, which that's another whole story, but anyways. So we came home with some hardware. This is nice. It's got a little it's not a drag bus, well, the half drag bus, whatever that's called. On top here, very nice trophy to add to the collection. It says People's Choice Award down there at the bottom. So very nice, very excited to have that. And I'm going to walk you through this now. I can't move the camera really around it. It's kind of in an awkward spot out here with the lighting. So I'll do some still shots and then talk over the top of them. It's meant to be viewed from all angles, and it was really designed to show off my Torino customs, but it kind of grew from there. Originally it was going to be just a parking lot of a used car lot, but it grew and grew and grew, and Andrew had a lot to say about the design on this too. We'll take a look at that. Also, I should mention there's a few little parts that have fallen off or have just settled weird. I didn't fix those because I'm going to actually adapt this whole diorama to the green screen. So this will be the last time we see it as it was in the contest, and then I'm going to actually take a few parts out and we'll repurpose it for the green screen. Nothing will be hurt. It could be put back together, but I really want to use it for the green screen. So also, I don't know if you can notice, well, you can't see from this angle, but we've actually now got two green screens. I reconfigured the workspace here so that I can do bigger dioramas like this and use the green screen. So towards the end of this video, I'll take some shots because I really want to test out the green screen and see how it works with those trees. Those trees are going to be a problem with the green screen. We'll take a closer look. Okay, we'll start off by taking a look from top down here. This is from the left side. Now, a few things about this diorama. It's built up using foam, so while it looks really big, it is big. It's the biggest one I've built. The entire base is foam. It only weighs about 10 pounds without the cars on it. That said, I still needed to build a case for it to actually get it to the convention, which was quite the undertaking. So all the rocks are plaster. That's where most of the weight is, but most everything else you see here is foam covered with plaster and then decorated. So all of the cars here, there were, I think, originally 8 cars when I showed it at the convention. I put it back together here pretty quickly to show off my Torinos. They're all Talladegas. Funny thing about this, it was not actually meant to be just Talladegas. I kind of had to cut my plan because the convention was getting closer and I was afraid some parts wouldn't dry before the convention, so I had to wrap it up at least 2 weeks before the convention. It was originally going to be aero cars, so Superbirds, Dodge Chargers, Talladegas, Cyclones. It was going to be, the idea was going to be that Teddy Talladega here repurposed old cars and put aero kits on everything. So the idea was going to be there was going to be like this Maverick driving off with an aero kit on it. That was how the layout came about. So this little road here was meant to kind of house the cars that were driving away with like aero kits put on them, like a Pinto with an aero kit or a Gremlin with an aero kit. I wasn't going to have time to build those, so maybe sometime in the future. I thought that was a cute idea. But I did have the Talladegas, and some of these were made for this, that I'll kind of point to it. This gold one back here, which is actually not bronzed, copper? I think it's copper. It's got a copper plating on it. That's not paint. And I think I've done a video on that one. You've seen all of these. This was one of the holiday cars here. That one of my favorites. But yeah, my favorite Talladegas. I'm going to reconfigure the camera here and I'll show you some of the details. So there's a few things going on here narrative-wise, and I like to build a narrative into each of my dioramas, mainly because it just keeps me entertained as I'm building them. They take quite a while to build, so I have to come up with a way to entertain myself. So what I came up with is Teddy Talladega, who owns this fine establishment here in the backwoods somewhere, I'm assuming like Texarkana or so. He's having a Hot Wheels show to sell off his fine Talladegas. And so a few other Talladegas have shown up, but his show is not going so well. He has invited Larry Wood and Alec Tammy to come to the show. This is Larry Wood here having somewhat of an emotional breakdown that his career has come to the point that he's at this sad Hot Wheels show here. Alec is trying to console him, but I think Larry is beyond help at this point. Here is my concept of a Hot Wheels collector. Just a big old dude with his Hot Wheels suspenders. We'll see him from the front there. All of those are handmade. I made them with, what did I use? I think those are made with Sculpey, if I remember right. It's the fine art Sculpey so that I could get a better detail. And this poor guy's got his butt crack hanging out here. He's got his crazy little ponytail. He's going up to get something signed. He's the only one there. You can't really see it, but he's got a pet possum. We'll see that when we circle around. This was a Hot Wheels track, and it was fine for the show, but since it's been sitting in our storage, it has fallen down a little bit. This is, what's it called? Pinstriping tape. And I just painted it orange, and it makes a perfect Hot Wheels track. A few other things you can see in this particular scene. This house was built from a kit. I customized quite a bit of it to fit my needs, but the walls and the roof are built from a kit. I'll put a link to that down below. The table is all handmade from balsa wood. There are little papers here that I just cut up and pasted into place. All of the junkyard, or at least the parts you can see here, are Hot Wheel parts or parts that I've made myself or found in kits, whatever. The roof up here is tin foil, and then I've rolled the tin foil over a particular tool that I'll have to show you that technique some other time, but it's given it that undulated tin roof look that you can see there. The posts here, again, balsa wood. I've threaded through the post this screen door wire, and all I've done is cut down the screen door wire to one thread and just threaded it through to make it look like barbed wire. There are some small plants. I think you can see some back in here. Some of these are real plants that are dried. Some of them are the fake plants that you can make, and some of them are fake plants that I've just cobbled together myself. The sign up here is cotton with a printed water slide tampo on it, glued on, and then I've just kind of I bent the sign around a little bit and soaked it in glue so that it's actually stiff. It doesn't really move much. That's a good trick. And then all the water slide tampos on the house I've printed myself and put on there. Oh, you can't see. All right. I'll scoot around to another view here and we'll take a look at another group of details. So there are quite a few little critters in here. All the critters were things my son picked. He helped model these and picked where to place them. There's a little skunk back here behind the tree. He is modeled out of Sculpey. By the way, this is a real bush that we have out here. These are fake bushes, and the flowers are just colored flocking, and I just dip the fake plants in that. Also, the grass here is flocked, and it is standing up. It's the first time I've ever tried that with the static applicator, and I think I covered that in the how to make dioramas video that we did. A few other details. We've got some crows up here in the tree. They are just Sculpey and painted. Also, the tree is just from a bush here in my yard. It was one of the last things I added. I thought that space needed something. Our little Hot Wheels collector's pet, which is supposed to be a little possum. He was about the hardest thing to model because my fingers were just not small enough to model that to scale. We have affectionately named him Petunia, and of course every good old-fashioned Hot Wheels collector needs a pet possum. We do have a bear that lives down below Teddy Talladega's. The idea with this is Teddy throws pizza down to the bear. The bear is very big and fat if he was to scale here. We're going to take a look at him from a different view. But you can see Teddy has been throwing down his Hot Wheel magazines, his newsletters. Those are just copies of newsletters that I've scaled down. Made a water slide tampo of them and just put them on a piece of paper so that they could be aged and so forth. The bear is all Sculpey. Pretty happy with the way the bear came out. And back there in his cave, can't quite see it, we'll see it from another angle, he does have a pizza that he is storing still back there. Teddy Talladega's place is a little bit dangerous. There is a scary snake back there by that tire swing in the back. Hard to get a good shot of that. Also made of Sculpey. The swamp area in the front has a fun story with it. I originally made this cutaway view because the idea was going to be there would be water all the way up to here, or almost up to the top. This was all meant to be underwater. Well, turns out it would have taken a year for me to actually pull that off. The material I was using for water really isn't made for that. And I ran a test on the water, filled this with water, hated the way it looked. I used the wrong type of water acrylic product. The one I used was this dark blue. It looked horrible. It looked like just a big pile of blue plastic down there. I ripped it out, and that's what actually caused the discoloration down below, which I ended up really liking. It kind of tore up some of the paint. I had to repaint it. Well, then I went back in and I used a different product, this time the Realistic Water by Woodland Scenics, which worked great for being see-through, but worked horrible to hold up as a wall. And originally I had blocked all of this off, filled it up as a test a little bit of the way, took down the wall when it was dry, and all that happened, it was a very hot summer day, it just melted, and it was like melting wax. It just was going to goo out. So that's where this plexiglass barrier comes into play that you see here, because I knew it was never going to hold up. Changed the whole concept around to be now Teddy Talladega throws his trade-ins down here. So you can see a couple cars have been thrown down there, driven off the top wall up there, and have just been tumbled down into the water. Also, this is a Maverick, and if you followed my show before, you know that I usually try to find a place for a Maverick, especially if it's an old beat-up Maverick, because that was the car I had in high school, and I probably would have rather had a Talladega. There are some cool details here that I'm happy with. The cracked earth here is from a product by Citadel that I've covered in the How to Make Dioramas videos. You can look those up if you want to on the channel here. Also, all of this little shale and broken rock, that is fractured plaster that was left over from making the rocks. And all I did was spread that out on some wax paper, let it dry, break it up. I repainted it, and it works great for sprinkling in and building up all that busted up rock. Here's our bear from the other side. I really like my little pizza boxes. I was pretty proud of those. There's also some newspaper clippings. I think one of them says Capone gets 11 years, and boy, I don't remember what that one said, but I tried to get some that were old, dated newspapers. Up above, Teddy is not following his own advice. You can see there is a do not feed the animals sign right there. That is tinfoil with a water slide tampo on it so that it looks like a metallic sign, but he's still feeding that bear, and that bear is not going anywhere anytime soon. There were supposed to be alligators over in the swamp there, but I did not get to the alligator. The junkyard in the back of Teddy Talladega's, since '69, by the way. You guys that know cars can put that together. the junkyard is made up of a combination of parts of Hot Wheels M2s that I had laying around. I also used a lot of craft materials that I found at Walmart's craft aisle, and then I have a lot of rusted old metal pieces that I just chopped up and made all the plating from. A lot of the plants here, these are real plants. The little leaves have been stripped off, and I've just sprayed the trunk with a cheap hairspray and dipped it in the flocking, and so that it looks like a little tree. There are plates back here, and the original idea was I was going to try and get all 50 states, but I just got probably about 20 of the states put back there. The back of Teddy's house, he's got his antenna coming out of the window there up to his rabbit ears up on the roof, which right now has fallen down. I just knocked that down when I was setting this up. Have to glue that back into place. He's got his wood pile. The wood pile are just small twigs that I've cut from my yard and chopped in half. He's got some different pipes and so forth I've added back here. A little water meter I made out of Sculpey. You can barely see that. Also the trees that we'll see a little bit more of here in a second. Here's a few. The trees are a mixture of real plants that have been dipped in flocking. Also, this one here was my first attempt at what's called a wire tree, where you twist wire around. And the advantage of that is you can make the roots, so you can make it look like the tree's really stuck down in there. I've also sprinkled a whole lot of chopped up leaf matter on the leaves and down around the bottom of the leaves, so it looks more realistic. A little bit closer up shot in this. I have a feeling, I can already tell those trees are going to cause problems with the green screen, so I may not get a green screen back behind there on this one. The problem is my background's green and the trees are green, and the idea is you select the background, it makes a big selection, and then you can put an image or a video back behind there, and it looks like it's, you know, there's a real background. The problem is going to be separating those trees from the green background. I don't think it's going to work. So we'll give it a shot. Maybe I can do a still of it or something. Another close-up, and here you can see our little guy a little bit better. He does have a beard. It's tied off there. He's got Hot Wheels on his shirt, little stars on his suspenders. Tried to do as much as I could with him. And we'll just kind of pan across the whole thing. All in all, it's about 22 inches by 18 inches. It's probably about 6 inches high. Real happy with some of the things I learned on this, especially the water, which I've used since this. I've done about 2 dioramas since this one, and used a lot of these same techniques and made plenty of trees and plants so that I can use in the future. But yeah, real happy with the way this one turned out. Hot Wheels event right over there. And poor Larry Wood. His career just has not worked out the way he thought it would. So, thanks for watching, everybody. I'll see y'all later. Bye-bye.